And welcome back to episode 86 of the Weekly Tech Rant with me, Jay.
And me, Carl.
Carl. Well, summer I think is slowly getting here. The sun is streaming into the Tech Rant recording center here, and
HQ.
HQ, yes indeed. And I'm tempted to put the the old Dyson cooling fan on, but I don't know. Actually, it's quite quiet. I probably could have it on with recording. You probably wouldn't be able to hear it
Even
anyway.
cracked a window earlier. It was getting a bit stuffy in the office.
Easy, fresh air. What's wrong with you, man?
No, we better go shut that now.
We better do indeed. Well, we are back with another week of the latest tech stories, and what a lineup for you have this week. We have a bit of a mixed bag, I guess. We have got a few Apple stories this week. We've got some more gaming stories, but we're going to talk a bit about Intel Arc again, updates, a bit about Lovelace, and there is going to be metaverse. I'm sorry, we don't like the metaverse, but we've got to talk about it, isn't it true?
We have, yeah.
Well, so I have come to the conclusion that if your company name is Apple, insert product name, service, solution by the end of it, you are going to end up getting in front of regulators, complaints, or whatever. Does that? I think that's pretty cool standard process
Pretty much
now.
sums it up. Yeah, they are in some kind of regulation argument about pretty much every one of their products at the moment.
They are. And so this week, not only have they managed to annoy the regulators, but Apple now have managed to pretty much annoy their own developer community, haven't they? On the upcoming WWDC, which is 4 weeks away now.
Yeah, not long.
Not long at all. On the 6th of June. Light of that, Apple has pretty much annoyed their dev community by deleting apps from the App Store, then, haven't they?
Well, not quite. I mean, they haven't
Okay.
deleted them yet. They've given notice, but yeah. So there's been kind of a bit of talk over the last few weeks of Apple threatening to remove working apps from the App Store for, I suppose, no discernible reason other than they haven't been updated in a while. Well, Apple have kind of come out with a statement, really saying that as part of their App Store improvement process, they're targeting developers of apps that have not been updated within the last 3 years and failed to meet a minimum download threshold. So, yeah, if your app hasn't been downloaded a certain amount of time in the last 12 months, and they haven't said what that threshold is for downloads, basically you're going to get an email saying, we're removing your app. You kind of have 90 days to update your app, or I suppose to get people to download it.
Yeah, and I guess when we think about this, you think of the app stores, the millions of apps that are in there.
Oh, God,
there's a lot of abandoned apps, isn't there?
There are. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of ones and just don't work anymore.
No, or don't display properly because of the changes in UI. They just don't look right. I was looking at an app the other day, and I was just like, my God, it looks like it's still running. Like iOS 9 or 10 style UI. Really blocky.
Rumours, or whatever it was called back then.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, rather than the sort of more flat, rounded approach we've got today. But look, I kind of get this, but there's a lot of developers that are very unhappy, though, aren't there, around this?
There is. It's definitely good to kind of tidy up all that mess, but there are a lot of developers that have probably done a good job the first time. The app doesn't need updating.
Well, that's it, isn't it? I guess that's the point. You're right. Because sometimes an app works so well, it doesn't need to be updated. It does what it says, and people still use it because it meets that need. It has that requirement. But I guess the other argument, though, is it still being downloaded, isn't it? Because what are the caveats here across the board? Is it still being downloaded? Does it still need to be downloaded? Or is it kind of a case of, you've got it, that's it?
But maybe it's for a niche product. Maybe it's for a niche career choice. There's only people that are going to download it, but it still needs to be there to get updates and be available for new people into that niche. But not every app is going to be a million downloads a day hit.
No, of course not. It isn't the, dare I say it, the latest copy of Fortnite, cough, cough. Or whatever might be the biggest app out there at the minute. I can't imagine. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I was just saying I can't imagine things like Facebook, Meta, whatever we're going to call it this week. They're sustaining downloads because surely they can't be onboarding as many new people. I suppose most of those downloads now must be from reoccurring, as in I've got a new device, as opposed to fresh user
I suppose
installs.
you get to a peak, don't you? And then it flattens off. And say if you are targeting a niche market, that peak might not be very high.
No, maybe it isn't. I think that's the thing. But the Apple, I guess, so Apple in their classic approach to all this put a statement out, don't they, saying this
Yeah,
is what we're going to do. Then the world implodes on itself, and usually clarification comes, doesn't it?
it does, but not enough. As I said, it says you need. It doesn't list the number of downloads you need. But what if my app's being updated, but it's not hitting the download threshold? Will it be removed?
Well, I don't
Or if
know.
I've gone over the threshold, but it's not been updated, will it remove? Or does it have to hit both? It's still not very clear.
Well, that's the thing. So the threshold is, so what was it then? So developers of apps that have not had updated within 3 years and
Yeah.
failed to meet. Okay, so updated within 3 years and failed to meet a download
Okay.
threshold. So it means if the app has not been downloaded at all or extremely few times during a rolling 12-month period, you'll get no. So all you need to do there then is put like a tiny incremental update and get somebody to download it.
Yeah, we'll change the color slightly, and then we'll enroll like 20 odd devices and get them downloaded.
And apparently Apple has said, though, that they've removed nearly 2.8 million apps so far based on that.
Wow.
But this isn't new. I think what the argument here is, this is not a new policy. They have been doing this for some time now.
It's just become more apparent, I presume.
Yeah.
More vocal developers.
Yeah, and I guess so, but it also is it critical mass in the sense that when you've got a few 100,000 apps, only a few are going to be deleted. But when there are millions upon millions of applications in there, you knock out 1% of those apps. That's a lot, isn't it? All of a sudden,
it is. Yeah. And I imagine they've probably started with the more obvious, this is abandoned ones, and now they've started to hit some that aren't abandoned, just haven't been updated because there's no need to.
Yeah, and actually, for once, I don't personally see a big problem with this. I agree with your argument about some of the niche apps, but considering my own experiences though of searching for an app on the App Store sometimes, and you get all of those rubbish, or you find an app and you think, and you think, oh, that app looks fantastic, and you click on it and you're like, oh yeah, okay, that's not gonna work.
I've definitely been there in my hunt for the best universal remote control. I've been through a lot of crud apps. I found some ones that look absolutely perfect, but don't quite work right the way you want, and then there's no response from the developer at all. Well, that was a waste of money or time.
Yeah, it does work. It does work. I mean, I've still got a few apps on my phone that you can't find anymore in the store. Yeah. But then I look at my phone. I don't know about yourself, but I also wonder, do I use all these apps? And then I go to myself, oh, I might just delete that. And then I'm thinking, no, just in case.
But why? I've got 512 gig of space on it or whatever.
I know. I think it's, I've got my phone in my hand. I think it's more the case of just like scrolling through all these apps. And thankfully now with the library, you don't have that problem, isn't it? So you can offload stuff from the homepage.
I still have mine all in folders. I've not really done the library thing yet.
No, mine are all in folders, but you get the library's automatic.
Well, it does credit automatically, but I don't remove them from the home screen.
Oh no! But what I mean is,
if in the library, yeah.
Yeah, but what I've done a couple of times, where an app, I'm like, do I really need that anymore? That kind of view.
Yeah.
Then I kind of just shove that off to the other side and worry about it later. And then but occasionally I come across an app, I'm like, oh, I forgot I had that. Doesn't happen all the time, mind you, but it does happen occasionally. Oh, so Apple then. So talking of regulation, this one came out, didn't it? This isn't just Apple, but Apple are caught up in this. So the UK government is looking at how they can regulate a lot of the streaming services, isn't it? Of course, the UK. So Ofcom, who are the main regulator for all things media in the UK, aren't they? Everything from television to broadband to whatever. A bit like the FCC, I suppose, aren't they, in the US?
Yep.
Have just said that they want to regulate streaming services in the same vein as
linear broadcasters is
media broadcasters or commercial linear commercial television, I guess. Is that the right way to look at it?
Yeah, broadcast TV.
Yeah. Of course, so this I guess what we got: Apple TV, of course, Netflix, Disney, Amazon,
Sky Now or what, Now TV or whatever it's called in the UK, those kind of things.
Yeah. What's your thoughts here? Because I think I get part of it, but the other part of me is like, this seems a little bit nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to stress this is just a white paper at the moment. But I mean, what were the reasons they were giving? So they're saying it is to ensure that their audiences are protected from harmful or offensive material, that principles of fairness, accuracy, and privacy are applied. Um, yeah, I don't know. This is an odd one. There. I can see the reason for it. You know, anyone can access this with an internet connection. You might have it built into your TV now. So traditionally, stuff that was on your TV, you knew had gone through the Ofcom process. You weren't going to find anything too shocking. Late night stuff, adult stuff was put on later at night, not during the day, unless Now you can access adult material at any time of the day from the normal TV via the built-in apps. So I can see some of the reasons for it, but I do kind of worry that some of the stuff that we've enjoyed, certainly the boys, for sure. There have been some questionable scenes in there that, geez, you couldn't show your kids. I mean, even to an adult, they were, whoa, but they added to the story. Now, would we get those if they were overseen by Ofcom?
But
Probably
this is
not.
no, but this is the point though where parental controls come in, isn't it?
It is.
Where you should be, responsible to not. No, but in the same way though, not be funny. In the same way, the internet not be funny. If
Yep.
you're not savvy enough, your kid can go on the internet, type in a few
Oh
words into
no, yeah,
Google.
I was laughing at the thought of a lot of the parents being responsible for what their
Oh
kids do
no,
on the
no, no, no,
internet.
you're right. But but when
Yes,
I
there should
think
be parental control, whether
yeah,
it's by technology means or whether it's actually by parental means.
but this is the thing as well with streaming services: the freedom to have content which wouldn't be shown on what do you call it, linear broadcast or whatever they said.
Yeah,
Um,
your cable broadcast for those in the US.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like I was, but then again though, thinking about some of the stuff that gets shown on British television here, because we're a bit more relaxed than our friends in the UK, in the US, and perhaps some other places.
Around certain
Uh,
topics, definitely.
I mean, I was flicking through the box the other night, and there's a program on Channel 4 here in the UK. So if anybody's not sure what Channel 4 are, they are a public broadcaster, but they have commercial
Yes,
entities.
supported by adverts as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're soon to be privatized. But that's completely another argument. They show a lot of interesting content and have done since day one. They're very open about
They
it. They're
have.
very
Yep.
liberal. They do a program on Channel 4 on a Friday evening now at 10 o'clock called "The Great Open House Sex Experiment," which was about
Oh
people
yes.
who basically want to try swinging. I think is probably the only way to describe it. Yeah.
Not watched this,
Um,
but I have seen the advert for it.
I saw the advert for it. I was like, okay. Yeah, intriguing. But you're right. So that's kind of stuff is shown on it. We get Channel 4 also show that other one. What's it called? Naked Attraction, where
Oh
for
yes. Oh, that's true. So we
basically
have come on a bit. I'm just.
you see
Mm,
full frontal nudity, obviously in a tasteful and appropriate way. But yeah, you're right. Would they show, say, the boys, as you say, with that full-on gratuitous violence, which we enjoy as responsible adults?
yeah.
Would that be shown? I wonder. I do wonder. But part of me, then, on the other hand, is like the whole reason for these streaming services existing is to get away from regulated, um,
Yeah.
monolithic, old school broadcasts, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah, it's a tricky one. So it is just a white paper, so we'll see where it goes. But as with everything of these, if you break the code, there is going to be a fine. We're on this time now, it's £250,000 or a figure of up to 5% of the organization's revenue, whichever is the higher amount. They love that now, don't they? Up to X amount of their revenue.
Yeah, but but when you look at this, right, what are they protecting us from, realistically speaking? Because Netflix, I think, has a few questionable documentaries, if I'm honest with you,
Yeah.
where you could argue it. But Disney and Apple definitely are heavily
No.
regulated. Disney, let's be honest, Disney do not want to put themselves in a situation where they want to get hit by a regulator. It's not their business. The Mouse House
No.
is clean. And Apple certainly, let's be quite frank about this, have enough problems without wanting to rattle any media regulator, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, Amazon's a bit more free with that, aren't they?
The Amazon's just got terrible content. I don't suspect, rather than crap. Um,
I mean, one of the points Ofcom are making is there's nowhere that you can really go and complain at the moment. If you found something offensive, if it was discriminatory or anything like that, yes, you could go to Amazon or Apple, but let's be honest, you're not going to ever hear back. Ofcom has the power to make them answer to that.
they do. I get it. I get why they want to do it. I just don't necessarily see whether it's required on these platforms the same
I suppose
way.
the argument is that it's a paid-for platform. If you don't know what they've got, stop paying for it.
Bingo. Whereas free to air, not funny. Whereas the 5 channels in the UK, for example, are all free to air, aren't they?
To a degree, you need a TV license, but yeah.
Point in question, yeah, but you're not paying for a subscription service to something that you've chosen to take, but yeah, I don't know. So then when is it changes or likely being proposed? Have they said
No,
yet?
so it's just no. I haven't seen it. It's just a white paper at the moment. So I suppose you need to get someone to, sponsor that as it goes through Parliament and to get that enacted. But nothing yet.
I wonder also whether this is to try and protect homegrown data. Homegrown. What's the word? Content. I.e. like the BBC and stuff. Just in a kind of stealthy way. I don't know. I think maybe I'm reading too much into it.
I don't know. We will see.
Maybe. And finally, then continuing the theme of regulation.
Oh wow, yeah.
So the EU again are not happy, are they?
No, I mean we started here in the week rumours that the EU was going to charge Apple with anti-competitive behaviour in regards to its Apple Pay. Well, it's happened. The EU Commission that they informed Apple allegedly that the preliminary view is that it's abused its dominant position in markets for mobile wallets on iOS devices by limiting access to a standard technology used for contactless payments with mobile devices in stores, so NFC. Apple restricts competition in the mobile wallet market on iOS. So yeah, it's all about being anti-competitive with that NFC chip. I think we did talk about their access to NFC a couple of weeks ago, didn't we?
We did, because I mentioned to you about, obviously I think it was off my trip to Dublin, wasn't it? And I talked to you about the access to that Squid thing, that app for loyalty cards.
Yeah, you could do that one. You just couldn't use it to pay for something.
No. So what are they saying here then? You open it up to
basically you have
Google
to open
Pay?
up that NFC payment mechanism to, I suppose, any developer would like to use it. Now, Apple have got a chance to appeal this decision, raise any issues and disputes or findings, basically argue its case. But how if they don't win, they could face fines up to 10% of their global revenues, so 36 billion odd.
Yeah, right.
But this is all to tie in with this Digital Services Act and Digital Markets Act.
It's all the same, isn't
talked
it?
about. Yeah. It is. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Apple, of course, we're going to appeal it. They'll appeal everything. I mean, they pay so many lawyers, you might as well do something for their time.
Yeah. I did. There was a whole comment again, as we always say, never read the comments, but I did read one of the comments. Somebody posted, it was like, nobody asked me as a consumer whether I'm bothered by this, and I had to agree with that. I was like, you know what? I was like, yeah, it's a fair point. You know what? Why shouldn't there's nothing wrong with this, and it works fine. Nobody's going to Google, are they, and going, well, actually, you know what, Google, you're terrible, you should open up oh, that's right, you've got Samsung Pay in there, haven't you? Samsung Pay and Google Pay, but nobody's complaining about that. But
no,
but the problem here again is that, and to Apple's defense, in a small way, Apple have come in and they have disrupted that part of the payment industry.
They have,
take obviously contactless wasn't new, but they have disrupted that part of the payment industry. They have, democratized it, opened it up, and made it a standard point that people pay quite happily with it. And now, again, regulators and probably, I reckon, lobbyists from the big banks are not happy with it, are they?
No, I think we've said before, Apple has never advertised the whole Apple ecosystem as an open ecosystem.
No, never.
If you go and buy an Apple thing, you know what you're getting into. It's a walled garden. It's a closed experience. There's one or two ways of doing things, and that's your lot when it comes to those core technologies. If you want an open ecosystem, you go to the Android side.
Yeah,
because that's what it's advertised is. That's its USP. Do anything you want, any way you want. There's someone who will make it for you.
Exactly. And the point as well here is that, if we look at this banking, do you remember? I don't know if you remember. Do you remember Barclays in the UK? Barclays card had those weird NFC bracelets and rings and stuff that you could.
God. Yeah, I vaguely remember something about that.
But they couldn't, and it's terrible. It was the problem is like a lot of this, like with fintech. These big banks do not like being disrupted whatsoever by these upstarts.
No, they've been around for hundreds of years. They don't like change.
No, they don't like change. When they're pushed to do it, what happens is all of a sudden they make decent apps because, like, for example, the Barclays app now, to my view, works really well. There's a lot of good features. Okay, it's not Monzo, it's not Revolut or whoever, and it's
Yeah.
never going to be, but it's a darn sight better than it was originally.
I mean, HSBC is still pretty terrible. I get a notification that I made a payment now, probably about 3 minutes after I've done it. But I mean, I get a notification now, which is more than what I used to.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, HSBC is absolutely dire.
They did the absolutely bare minimum to bring it up to scratch, didn't they?
It is dire. I have no words to say about that beyond that. But yeah, I just, again, for me, I love the convenience of Apple. Yes, I'm in the Apple ecosystem. I go out, I don't need to take any cards out with me. I don't need to take, it works just well. But yeah, again, regulation, capitalist world, we need to have extra things in it. But if it ain't broke, why do you need to fix it?
Well, exactly.
Breathe, my friend. Breathe. So let's talk about games. So Square Enix. Yes, those publishers of the Final Fantasy series, who you probably know them for, isn't it? Square Enix.
Oh yes.
But they also own a whole stable of Western game studios, don't they? So who have they got there? They got, was it Crystal Dynamics, isn't it?
Eidos,
and well, there's a few others in there. Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix Montreal. I think there's a couple others in there, isn't there? But there's a whole set of games there. So we've got, what was it? Tomb Raider, Just Cause, Life is Strange,
Legacy of Kain.
That's it. Yeah, apparently loads more games there, of course, that are listed. But they've sold them, haven't they? They've sold off the Western studios.
Indeed, they've sold them to. So they've sold those three studios, the Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix Montreal, to a company called Embracer for $300 million. Well, who? I had to do a double check. I'd vaguely heard of them, but they're actually the parent company to Nordic Games and THQ, which we've heard of from the past.
THQ we've heard of, definitely, yeah. But Nordic Games I hadn't come across.
Yeah, so they bought that. So they bought those three studios. So they get 1,100 odd people. They've got the popular IP, so they now own Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Legacy of Kain, 50 other game titles. But strangely, Square Enix themselves have kept a few select IPs. So Just Cause, Outriders, Life is Strange, and a few others, I believe.
Interesting. I mean, obviously Crystal Dynamics there and Eidos themselves. Tomb Raider is a legacy, isn't it? That we all know those guys. Quite interesting. But they said they're keeping Batman Just Cause, as you say, Life is Strange.
Isn't that their latest?
Yeah, that's
PvP
the latest one. Yeah,
isn't it?
Just Cause. I mean, that Just Cause 4, the last game that came out. I mean, that was dire, genuinely dire.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, they tried to redo the whole game experience.
I think I played Just Cause 3.
That was brilliant.
Quite enjoyed that one. I did not all the way through the end. I probably only played the first bit of it, but I enjoyed what I played.
Yeah, that was the peak, in my opinion, of the series. 4, they basically redesigned the control interface, and when you're like, why did you do that?
It was perfectly fine for the last 3. We were okay with it.
And it got just a bit repetitive. The whole game was just super repetitive. I mean, Just Cause was never complex. Don't get me wrong. But
it was always about outlandish stunts, wasn't it?
Yeah, but yeah, it wasn't particularly good. But I mean, it'd be interesting to see what came out. I did see though in the press release that came out of that it said that there is going to be a brand new game coming from Eidos Montreal, set in the Deus Ex IP. So the last Deus Ex game,
interesting,
was
number 2, wasn't it?
Yeah, but Human Revolution, wasn't it?
Oh, okay. I'm not sure if I played that
Did you not play Human Revolution? That came out about 10 years ago, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe. Yeah, Human Revolution was 2011. Yeah, 10 years ago. Yeah. Again, it was a good game. It wasn't too bad. It was kind of a bit like Cyberpunk, but not to the same degree of terribleness.
So you mean it worked?
It worked. But it had a director's cut as well that was brought out a few years later, and they'd added in some of the updates and DLC. But it wasn't bad. I think if I remember seeing it was high. It was 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 for a lot of the big thing. Metacritic, it scored nearly 90 out of 100. On Metacritic, yeah. So it was received well. So I'm interested.
I think the last one I played might have been Invisible War. I'm
Oh,
not
that
sure
was
I played
that was
Revolution.
before.
It was even the
Yeah.
one called Mankind Divided out in 2016
Oh yeah, I
out of
see that
Eidos
one.
Montreal. So I'm definitely not played that one.
So that one, yeah, man, I don't think I ever played that one either. I
I
think
think
that
I might
one,
actually have that though. I think I might have got it one of those bundles. It's probably in
yeah,
my
but
Steam library.
wasn't that a slightly different? What didn't they do something odd with that one?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I played that one because I think that was the sequel. That was the sequel, wasn't it? To
I have it.
uh,
I've got the entire collection. I must have got it in a bundle.
yeah, yeah. I didn't. Yeah, I remember playing that. I wasn't overly impressed with it. Now you say that.
Actually, yeah, I've even got Mankind Divided, which was 2017,
Yeah,
which is
I'm
a
not.
VR experience apparently. Oh, I need to go and
Yeah,
try that
yeah,
one out.
yeah.
I had to try that one.
Like all things, the early ones are better. But yes, Square Enix again. So it'll be interesting to see why or whether this is going anywhere. Whether it'll be a good thing. But THQ, definitely not going anywhere. They're pretty solid
They always be
organization.
great for their space games.
Oh, they do. Yeah,
It's my
definitely.
childhood. Yeah, was it X Frontiers or whatever it
That's
was? I
the one.
played
Yeah, that's the one.
so long on that one.
Very cool indeed. But yeah, another acquisition as the Microsoft acquisition of Bethesda. That's been all cleared now, isn't it? So it's all
It
good.
has
Um,
indeed. It's
oh,
been cleared by regulators. It's been cleared by the board, hasn't it?
yeah, but there's no noise about whether regulators are going to say no to it. So I have a feeling it's going to go ahead, isn't it?
UK government, hold my juice box.
Yeah, yeah, fair point.
We'll
Yeah,
add that to the
true.
list. We just haven't sent out the email yet about it.
No, you're right. You're right. That's fair. Fair point. Fair point. But look, I'm going to say. I mean, look, Games Pass. There's so much good stuff coming to Game Pass. I can't wait to see what they do now with these
Oh yeah.
acquisitions. Because was it Sniper Elite 5 comes out today? Actually,
Was it today? I might have
yes.
to sit down and
I have to
download
go
after this
bark
podcast.
up. Yeah, I was going to say I'll have to pop across and bark up the old game PC after this.
I
But
tell my friend to download it because it might take him days on his internet connection, but we'll get there.
Get there in the end. Well, moving on then. Let's keep going before we run out of steam here. Then on this Friday afternoon. So then, Carl, talk us through the Intel Arc Scavenger Hunt then, because this has just ended. And
This
I
was
didn't quite
about a
get
year
this.
ago. I be honest, I forgot it was even running. So back in March 2021, yeah, Intel announced a kind of digital scavenger hunt where you can hunt around all these clues throughout what turned out to be the next year. And if you won it, you then get Intel Arc prizes, or what back then was called the XE range, wasn't it? Before they gave the
Yeah.
new fancy name, you'd get prizes. Well, it's finished and they've announced the winners, but this is kind of a let us to get some snippets of information about pricing. So I think there were different levels of pricing. Not pricing. Prizes. There were 200 winners here, and you got things like merchandise included in Xbox Game Pass. You obviously got an actual Intel GPU, I suppose, when they ship.
When they
Yeah,
ship, that's a caveat there. I
when
like
they
that.
ship, not
When they
now,
ship,
when they ship. But
at
yeah,
some point.
the winners got a nice email saying that you've won this prize fund, and it actually told you what the estimated retail price was or value of this bundle. So first one we had what presumed was the first place winner, but you get a Intel Arc. What's it? A performance version of it, one of those, along with 3 months Game Pass for PC, valued at $700. So if we take out what, 50 quid, $50 for the Game Pass,
Yeah.
I reckon that brings the GPU for the performance one, which I think is probably the middle one of the middle of the road ones. That's going to be around $650.
Okay, so we get a site. Okay, it's a bit of an insight into what the potential cost could
Yeah,
be.
what the price is. And the other one they brought out was one was somebody else has posted theirs, and they've got a premium Intel Arc GPU, 6 months of Game Pass, and some merchandise for $900. So I don't know,
Okay,
150 out for that. Maybe it's 850. Sorry,
yeah, it
800,
could be
750, 800.
possibility. Yeah, could possibility.
Somewhere around there. So it might give some indication. I presume their premium is one of their top of the range ones there. What's that?
Interesting.
The 770 or the 780 or something along
That's
those
it.
lines.
Yeah. But we still have no view of whether or not.
No, we don't know exactly which model that is and exactly what the pricing will be,
God.
or when these guys will even get their GPUs. You know what the stock situation is like.
I look forward to that day when we can say we've got a price. You know,
We got, or if someone's actually reviewed one, it's real product in
yeah.
their hands.
Yeah. You're right. That's what I want. Yeah. So this is a real one. Here we're going to talk about it. That is, I look forward to those moments. But alas, that is not today.
No, it is not. It is not.
Okay, right then. So I have a feeling it is time for this. Oh, no. This? No. What is going
Not
on today?
working.
Hey! The
Just
soundbar.
slightly delayed.
I was like clicking the button. I was like, what's going on?
I
Just
thought
one
you
more
might
for
have
luck.
cleared the soundbar again.
Oh, no. There we are. One more for luck.
Yeah, awesome. So we have a number of rumors today, and only one is Apple.
Go
So
on.
we'll leave that to the end. But let's start with more graphics card related news. So obviously we've been expecting Nvidia's their Ada Lovelace GPU, their 4000 series now. We suspect September, kind of October time will be announced. Well, some more interesting tidbits have come out, haven't they? That we were expecting Lovelace to be a kind of a refresh of Ampere, but the rumors now is that it's going to be a whole new architecture.
Yeah, so does that mean then that the 40 series, like we say, is completely redesigned?
Completely redesigned. The rumor is now. I can only guess. Now, we've heard a bit more rumors recently of what AMD has been cooking up with their RDNA 3, and they're moving to a chiplet design, much like they have with their Ryzen chips. This is expected to bring massive performance games as well as efficiency games. Or else Nvidia, from what we've heard, their Ada Lovelace is one of those giant monolithic chips, much like Intel's chips. Or else AMD are going the way of their CPUs with that chiplet design. So maybe that spooked Nvidia. Maybe they're worried about the potential performance there.
Well, you do wonder that, and I have to think: is that the logic behind it, or was that the game plan all along? I mean, the 40 series, I was expecting to be, like you say, an incremental upgrade to the Ampere. But then again, with those new power requirements that were coming out, kind of
The
didn't seem
900
right.
ones,
Didn't
yeah,
fit
up to
right, did
900
it?
watts.
No, didn't
They're
fit at
very
all.
much
But
following the Intel track with one giant chip and huge power requirements. So pure brute force. Power be damned.
if you can't, if the key don't work, kick the door in.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas AMD's going for that efficiency. So I'm actually very interested to see what AMD's RDNA 3 looks like with this new chipset design. Because Intel are going chipset design in the next or the one after design, aren't they? We talked about it in the past. Can't remember what it was called now. Their new CPU. But yeah, they are going down that chipset route. So I wonder if Nvidia will go there with the next version, the 5000 series, or not.
Yeah, that probably makes more sense given the roadmap here, isn't it? Or potential roadmap. I don't know. I mean, clearly that is where everybody's heading. That I think that's the ultimate place, isn't it?
AMD approved it with Ryzen that it can work and it can work very, very well and deliver that kind of performance. Even if Intel say it's not the fastest gaming one in the world, it's so close and uses half the power or less.
What
There's
would you
something in
rather
that.
have? Yeah,
I mean, they could then use all the power and makes it double as fast, maybe.
I know what I'd want.
Want to save some power, especially the cost of power at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, consider that point. Okay, well, let's see. I guess there's nothing yet coming out of it.
Still nothing concrete. It's going to be second half of this year before we get any more.
We'll let you know once we have more then. So what else is in the bucket then, Carl? Dig deep.
Wow, I think was it 2 episodes back, episode 84. Quo had been talking about a VR headset, a new one from Meta, hadn't it? And it wasn't Project Cambria.
Yeah,
he labeled it
it wasn't. That's the key point to remember here, isn't it?
It was not. He mentioned it was the Quest 2 Pro, he was calling it. And we said, well, it looks very similar. I think he's just got the naming mucked up. But seems he could be right, although he was kind of missing half the story. So we're hearing reports out of something called The Information, a website. Not really heard of those guys. But they're saying that Meta are going to be releasing 4 new headsets by 2024. So we've got 2 work headsets. Obviously, Project Cambria, we know about, which is due this year. And then there's its successor called Funston. And apparently Cambria was meant to be out last year, but just didn't ship due to supply chain issues. So they'd already been working on the Funston one already. That's why it's coming so soon. But we're also expecting 2 gaming headsets. So Project Stinson, which I think is
these names are terrible.
Quo's probably, I know. Are these cities? Because we've got a Cardiff one for 2024. So we've got Stinson in 2023, which we suspect is one that Quo's speaking about, which is the Quest 2 Pro. Now, this is meant to be a high-end gaming headset.
I don't know. If you Google Funston, um, apparently there's a famous soldier called Frederick Funston who is the man who saved San
Ah.
Francisco, and maybe they're linked to famous people or something. I don't know. Who knows? Who
Maybe,
knows?
yeah. So we've got this Project Stinson, which we suspect is the Quest 2 Pro, and I imagine it's probably based off the Cambria one, hence it's coming this year. But it's a high-end one, so I imagine we're still looking at big money here, or big more money than the Quest 2. And then, say 2024, we've got another gaming headset called Cardiff, which could be the Quest 3, perhaps. This is a more budget-orientated model, like the Quest 2 currently is.
Okay. So they are going all in here, aren't they? So
They are going all in, yeah.
take away the names here. They are proving here that they want to have this. As in, productivity is the key. So
Yeah.
going for the HoloLens style approach here, isn't it? The other ones, getting people into the metaverse and office rooms, and then as you say, the gaming ones. But the Cambria one though kind of is the one that keeps getting confused, isn't it?
It is. I mean,
it just whether it, like I say, it's more the productivity aimed piece here.
That's the work one.
Yeah,
That's the high end work one. I'm I'm not a fan of Facebook. Well, I think we all know that one.
No,
And the
you do
fact that
surprise me.
you tie a Facebook account to a Quest headset, yeah. Right, it's a rant for another day. But I'm glad to see they are now actually concentrating on a high-end gaming headset. Now, to me, a high-end gaming headset means proper PC support. Whether that means that to them, I don't know. But to take it seriously, not just have a budget one, is good. So I imagine it's going to have a decent PC support there.
Yeah, I hope so. I really do. Just decent gaming headset, decent competitor now. We've got the Valve Index, we've got the Reverb 2, and we that are probably the high end commercial, consumer ones.
PC focused ones, yeah.
Yeah, we just need something else here, and I'm not suggesting I want. Another Facebook Meta headset, but these guys, Quest, Oculus. To be honest, they know what they're doing, don't they? And
they do make some very good kit.
Yeah,
it's just that tie to a Facebook account that ruffles my feathers.
Yeah, it does, and it rattles my feathers quite a lot as well. I can't get past that, and it really really annoys me because I don't want anything to do that. I want to play VR. I have no interest in.
I don't have an objection as such to having a Meta account, but I'm not on Facebook. I shouldn't need a Facebook account to run a VR headset that's never going to be used for any social media. It's a gaming headset. So, yes, I understand if I have a Meta account, they're still going to mine me. I am still the product, even though I've paid for the product. They're going to mine that data. But at least it's not going to be attached to a public Facebook account.
No, not at all. But no, I am interested to see what they bring out. Genuinely, I do want to see that. And they did talk about, didn't they, that they were trying to remove the requirement for Facebook, or there'd be options.
Yeah, they've gone rather quiet on that one. I need to do some research on that and see how that's coming.
I was just going to say that's gone very quiet. I do agree with you on that point. But interesting to see what we get out of this, and especially that Project Cambria, the mixed messages we're getting about that from Quo and everybody else. Yeah. I definitely want to see what is the actual development there, plus the gaming headsets, as you say, because that's where our focus will be. DCS, all the way. By the way, I got apologies to make. Sniper Elite 5 is the 26th of May. I apologise. I misread the release date, not the 6th.
Got me all excited there.
It got me all excited as well. I was thinking I'd miss that.
That's my evening sorted.
Yeah, I apologise. It's the 26th, not the 6th. I misread the date.
Ah, darn it.
All right, then. So come on then. What's our last story of the
one? Well, it's about time, to be honest. So we're hearing now that Apple finally be using its own inbuilt or in-house modems next year, 2023. Now, they bought Intel's modem division back in 2019, didn't they? And they're actually currently advertising for 140 positions directly related to modem stuff. So the rumor is next year we'll have that integrated into the SoC.
It's been a while, given when there was rumors at the time, wasn't it? The whole reason for buying it was to get away from Qualcomm, to allow them to align it with the rest of the system on the chip stuff. But it didn't happen, did it? We didn't see it at all.
It did not. But I'm quite excited about this one. Hopefully we'll see things like performance increases and power efficiency gains. I can say there'll be some reduction in costs, but we'll never see that. It's just more money for Apple to pay for the regulators.
Oh, I was going to say that's absorbed all the way along, isn't it? But can you imagine? I mean, one of these the 5G modem built into the M series.
Yeah, I was going to say, could we see that as well? So all the laptops will have modems built in. I'm sure whether it's got a modem built on or not, you'll have to pay to activate that. But it'll be in there. But if you want to use the modem, it's going to cost you X amount.
I was going to say, if it's in there, that would be great. Because you wouldn't. I'd rather have that as an option that you can enable, as opposed to having to buy more.
Definitely have it software locked or not, because it gives us that option to upgrade later, especially things like iPads.
Yeah, but the only problem with software locking it, I suppose, is that if you software lock it, somebody will break it, won't they?
Oh, that's no problem for me. But just imagine, I bought the non-Wi-Fi one. The non-4G or whatever 5G iPad, and you decide to go on holiday for a while. You just want to enable the modem for a month. I'll pay a month of subs for $10 or whatever, and I got the modem for a month.
I'm down for that. That would be awesome. I would be a happy bunny with that. But I suppose then on the iPad things that kills the whole SKU, doesn't it? And Apple are not going to do that whatsoever.
But at this point, when they go to building it into the actual socket, it'll be in there whether it's enabled or not. They're not going to build two versions of the same chip, one with a modem, one not. They're just going to build one with a modem.
No, true.
And it'll be firmware locked maybe rather than software or something along those lines, but it will be in there.
It will be, yeah, of course it will, because it will be cheaper to do that from a production standpoint. A bit like the way the Ultras and the Pros, the Max and the Pros, basically are going to probably end up being the same things, but with cores turned off, isn't it? And like they used to in the old days, wouldn't it?
They still do it. It's selective binning, isn't it?
Yeah, basically, yeah, exactly.
You just can't unlock it with a lead pencil.
God, no, that is old school indeed. Right, well, a bit of a shorter show this week, but nevertheless, I think we covered quite a lot of ground as always. So, with me, it's to remind you that we are available on Twitter at Weekly Tech Rant. You can find all our show notes at techrant.online. And please tell your friends about us, leave us a comment. And of course, you can find us wherever you get your podcast from, which is odd considering that you're listening to this podcast. So you must have found us somewhere. But with that conundrum, we'll be back next week for episode 87 of the Weekly Tech Rant. I've been Jay.
I've been Carl. Have a good evening, all.